Artificial intelligence looks like it's advancing at an unstoppable pace. Every week there's a new breakthrough, faster models, smarter systems, bigger data centers, and behind all of it, companies are pouring billions into scaling this infrastructure as quickly as possible. But underneath that momentum, something critical is starting to break. Not in the software, not in the models, in the foundation. On March 2nd, a major signal hit the market. NVIDIA invested roughly $4 billion into two relatively unknown companies, not AI labs, not chip designers, but companies focused on components that use light. In that same week, Marvell Technology closed a $3.25 billion acquisition of a photonics startup. That's over $7 billion flowing into a very specific corner of the supply chain in just days. When that kind of capital moves that quickly, it's not speculation, it's a response to a problem. And that problem is this: the current infrastructure powering AI is hitting its limits. There are 5 core failures building up inside AI systems right now, and all of them point to the same bottleneck. Number 5. AI systems can't communicate fast enough. At the heart of every AI data center is a simple requirement: chips need to talk to each other. Not occasionally, constantly. Modern AI workloads rely on thousands of processors working together in parallel. Every calculation requires data to move across the system in real time. And that communication is what determines how fast or slow everything runs. Right now, that communication happens through copper cables. Today's fastest connections operate at around 800 gigabits per second. That's already pushing the limits of what copper can handle. The next generation is targeting 1.6 terabits per second, double the speed. And at that level, copper begins to fail. Signals degrade. Errors increase. Efficiency drops. This isn't a minor inconvenience, it's a system-wide constraint, because if chips can't communicate efficiently, the entire AI model slows down, no matter how powerful the processors are. Number 4. Heat is becoming a system-level problem. As data moves through copper at higher speeds, it generates heat, not a small amount, a massive amount. Inside a modern AI data center, you're not dealing with a few cables. You're dealing with tens of thousands of high-speed connections operating simultaneously. That heat accumulates. Cooling systems have to work harder. Infrastructure becomes more complex. Costs increase. And eventually, the system reaches a point where adding more performance simply creates more thermal problems. This is one of the hidden constraints of AI scaling. You're not just building faster systems. You're trying to keep them from overheating. Number 3. Power consumption is reaching unsustainable levels. A single AI data center today can consume around 100 megawatts of power. That's comparable to the energy usage of a small city. Now consider what happens as demand increases. When data rates increase in copper systems, power consumption doesn't rise linearly. It rises exponentially. Doubling the speed doesn't just double the power, it multiplies it. This creates a serious economic challenge. Energy becomes one of the largest operating costs. Infrastructure becomes more expensive to maintain, and scaling AI becomes less efficient over time. At a certain point, the cost of power alone becomes a limiting factor. Number 2, signal integrity is breaking down. As speeds increase, another problem emerges: signal degradation. Electrical signals weaken over distance. Even short distances inside a data center can introduce noise and errors when operating at extreme speeds. This leads to inefficiencies. More errors mean more retransmissions. More retransmissions mean slower performance, and slower performance reduces the overall effectiveness of the system. This isn't something that can be fixed with better software. It's a limitation of how electrical signals behave at high frequencies. Number 1. AI has hit a physics wall. All of these problems lead to one unavoidable conclusion: AI infrastructure is hitting a physics wall. Copper, as a medium, simply cannot support the next generation of AI at scale. There's too much heat, too much power consumption, too much signal loss, too many limitations. And when an industry hits a physics wall, there are only two options: stop scaling or change the technology. AI isn't going to slow down, so the technology has to change. The solution: silicon photonics. This is where silicon photonics comes in. Instead of sending electrical signals through copper, silicon photonics uses light, photons, to transmit data. These light signals travel through microscopic pathways etched directly into silicon chips, using the same manufacturing processes already established in the semiconductor industry. The difference is fundamental. Light moves faster. Light generates less heat. Light consumes less power. Light maintains signal integrity over longer distances. And most importantly, light doesn't face the same physical limitations as electrical signals. Why this changes everything. At the individual connection level, optical links are 3 to 3.5 times more power efficient than copper. That might not sound dramatic on its own. But now scale that across an entire data center with 40,000 to 50,000 connections. This isn't a small efficiency gain, it's a complete transformation of the system's economics. Lower power consumption means lower operating costs. Less heat means simpler cooling systems. Better signal integrity means higher performance. Greater efficiency means easier scalability. This is why every major AI infrastructure company is moving in this direction. The industry is already making the shift. Companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta are all facing the same constraints. They're building massive AI data centers. And they're all running into the same limitations. That's why the transition to photonics isn't theoretical, it's already happening. The market for silicon photonics is currently around $3 billion. It's growing at an annual rate of roughly 25 to 29%. Conservative estimates place it at $10 billion by 2030, while more aggressive projections push it closer to $30 billion by 2034. That kind of growth doesn't happen without a fundamental need: NVIDIA's signal to the market. When NVIDIA integrates a technology directly into its platform, it's not optional. It has become the standard. Their next-generation AI systems are already incorporating silicon photonics at the core level. Their networking infrastructure is being redesigned around optical communication. This is similar to what happened with CUDA and high-speed interconnects in the past. Once it's integrated at that level, the entire supply chain follows. The bigger shift, from electricity to light. What we're witnessing is more than an upgrade. It's a transition, from electrons to photons, from electrical signaling to optical communication, from incremental improvement to foundational change. This is the kind of shift that only happens once every couple of decades in technology, and it doesn't just improve systems, it redefines them. Why this matters for the future of AI. AI models will continue to evolve. They'll become more complex, more capable, and more demanding, but none of that matters if the infrastructure can't keep up. Silicon photonics is what enables the next phase of AI growth. It removes the bottlenecks, it reduces the costs, it increases the scalability. Without it, progress slows down. With it, progress accelerates. The quiet foundation of the next AI boom. Most people focus on what they can see. The models, the applications, the breakthroughs. But the most important changes are happening underneath all of that. In the infrastructure, in the systems, in the way data moves. AI isn't failing because of a lack of innovation. It's struggling because its foundation is reaching its limits. 5 critical failures are building up: communication, heat, power, signal integrity, and physics itself. And one technology solves all of them: silicon photonics. It's not flashy, it's not widely understood, but it's essential, because in the end, The future of AI won't just be determined by how smart the models are, it will be determined by how efficiently they can run. And that future is being built with light.